Well, this was supposed to be sort of a second act to the big one in the Premier League this Saturday, which is Manchester City hosting Chelsea. But it turned out to be the big one indeed. Mark Ogden joining me here in London for this one instead of being at the Etihad. Mark, and Spurs and Jose Mourinho, I want to say off to a perfect start. We'll get into that just a bit. But finally breaking that jinx that Spurs have not won away in the Premier League since January this year. So before we get into the performance, what did you make of the lineup and the changes that Mo did?
Yeah, I think Eric Dyer's starting was interesting. He was a big fan of Dyer when he was at United, tried to sign him. I just think Dyer brings a bit more solidity. People might say it's a bit more negative, but Eriksen was on the bench. But Eriksen hasn't been playing well this season, so I think it was a decent enough selection. And Dele Alli, who probably played in the creative role ahead of Eriksen, repaid him with one assist and a great bit of skill on the touchline, which led to the second goal. So, selection was rewarded with a win.
And then just in terms of the result itself, of course it is a win. Like we said, their first win on the road since January when they beat Fulham, which is a bit of a shocking stat considering. But in the end, they did concede 2 goals. And this is Jose Mourinho we're talking about, someone who they say have been brought in to try to tighten up the defence a bit. Do you think he'd be too bothered with that?
He won't be happy. I mean, I think on the training ground next week it'll be a case of tighten up, because you can't be 3-0 up and go into the final 6 minutes thinking you might concede another one or maybe a third. So it's not great for Mourinho's team, but it was so important to win, and he came up with a great line in the press conference that 11 months without music in the dressing room, having not failed. It's actually 10 months since January, but we'll give him an extra month. Probably felt like 11 months. But it's so important to win and get that result, because now they've got 2 winnable games at home, Olympiacos and Bournemouth, Old Trafford a week on Wednesday. Man United away is a game they could win again, so momentum builds, and all of a sudden you're back in contention for top 4.
Music and Jose Mourinho, who'd have thought it? Definitely not us in the last year or so. But anyways, moving on. Speaking of positive performances, Dele Alli as well, you just kind of touched on it. And, Jose was quite complimentary of him as well in his post-match interview, saying that, look, he's too good a talent to not be playing week in, week out for club and country. So is Jose the man to bring out that best again in Dele?
I think he could be. I think in Dele Alli, he looks like a player that could be to Tottenham what Frank Lampard was to Chelsea and Mourinho, a guy that scores goals from midfield and creates goals as well. Now, I don't think he's as disciplined as Lampard. I think it's not an exact like-for-like comparison, but a midfielder who can score goals, he can affect 20 goals a season either scoring or creating them, and that is a game changer for any big team. So Mourinho knows what he's got with Dele Alli. He's only 23. He's certainly got another 10 years in the game. And I think Jose, as we saw with people like Joe Cole when he was at Chelsea, less so with Pogba at United, with a big player, a temperamental, skillful player, he can get into the heads of it. It's whether he goes the Joe Cole way and becomes a better player, or becomes the Pogba way and starts to sulk, which time will tell. Time
will tell indeed on that one. And of course, Mark Ogden, faster on Instagram than Usain Bolt, is on the track. Saw you put up a little picture of Jose in his presser, looking all pensive and whatnot. But biggest takeaways from that presser, did he say anything interesting?
Well, apart from the line about the dressing room, it just came in. It was the upbeat Jose that we kind of knew at Tottenham, at Chelsea, I should say. He wasn't the Man United Mourinho, the Mourinho, I think we used to call him in the end. But but listen, it's his first day in the job. They won 3-2. If he can't be happy and cheery today, when can he be? So, yeah, he looks happy, and he looked tanned, he looked resty, he looked up for it. And watch this space. Watch this space,
indeed. And finally, thought for West Ham?
Terrible.
Plain and simple.
Yeah, I think West Ham...
Missing some players, though, that probably could have made a difference, or you don't think so?
No, I just think West Ham, there's a problem. West Ham are always West Ham, aren't they? They've just got... the manager Pellegrini doesn't really inspire for me. I think you look at him thinking they need something on the touchline, some passion, some the fans some of the fans can get behind. West Ham, I just don't know how they will ever get it right. They've had Sam Allardyce, Slaven Bilic, David Moyes, Pellegrini. They've got some talented players, but they just don't look like a team.
Well, they're already taking bets on who could replace Pellegrini. But as for Spurs, nobody's replacing Jose Mourinho anytime soon. And so far, so good. Looks like he's off to a perfect start here in London. Thanks so much for watching ESPN on YouTube. And for more sports highlights and analysis, be sure to download the ESPN app. And for premium content and live streaming, subscribe to ESPN Plus.